OC. Viewer discretion is advised. Incoming transmission in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Guys, what's going on? Welcome back to Outcasted OC. We have got a review for NXT Vengeance Day. That's right. You don't usually get a video from us on Monday, do you? But today is a special treat because last night is worth talking about. But we will get to that at the end because we've got a great show apart from that. But before I start the, ranting and raving about how I love some matches, how I hated some matches, make sure you leave a like and a comment and subscribe to the channel if you go on to like this video. Right, let's get off and start with a bang. Wade Barrett is back on commentary. I don't know where Booker T is. It's always nice to have Booker T on commentary, and NXT can go off off the rails a little bit, but I think it's fun. But it's great to see Wade Barrett back. Obviously, one of the OG commentators of NXT. Before it even became NXT 2.0, he was on the Black and Gold for a little bit with LA Knight, Cameron Grimes. Do you remember those days? I remember those days. Amazing days. But yeah, it's nice to see him cover the show, to be fair. But let's get straight into it. We have got the Dusty Cup final. We have got the Wolf Dogs of Bron Breakker and Baron Corbin versus Trick MELO. Now, this is the first of two matches tonight for Trick Williams. Obviously, he's in the main event for the NXT Championship against Ilya Dragunov, but we'll get to that. This was a really solid match to open the show. A great tag team, worthy of a Dusty Cup final. Pulling out all the stops for both teams. There's a really cool spot where Baron Corbin does a tope assisted by Baron Corbin. Assisted by Bron Breakker. He assists himself. And then a little bit later on in the match, Bron Breakker does a tope. It's like a swanton bomb into Trick MELO. It's really, really cool to see. There's a bit in this match where Trick Williams is gaining some momentum and he does a nip up, kind of like Shawn Michaels or Drew McIntyre, and he hurts his knee. That will go to tell a longer story later on in the night. But unfortunately, it's not enough because Bron Breakker and Baron Corbin come back to win the match thanks to Carmelo Hayes sacrificing himself, taking a spear from Bron Breakker for the 1, 2, 3. After the match, we are backstage where Carmelo Hayes says, he sacrificed himself because, he needs to save his strength for Ilya Dragunov later on tonight. So I took that bullet for you so you can go on and win the NXT Championship. But I'm glad that Bron Breakker and Baron Corbin won. I am aware, obviously, that Bron Breakker is probably going to go to either Monday Night Raw or Friday Night SmackDown in the coming weeks. So maybe it's a bit of a wasted victory. Maybe give it to an actual tag team. None of these people were actual tag teams, but, it is what it is, I suppose. But if it was to choose any of these people winning, it would have been the Wolf Dogs. They both came out on motorcycles, by the way, which is kind of cute. I thought that was pretty cool. But the Baron Corbin obviously usually comes out on a motorcycle, but then Bron Breakker's music hit, and he also came out on a chopper. So yeah, I thought that was a little bit of a cool detail. Like I say, just a solid opener. I really enjoyed this match. It took me by surprise. I thought it was going to be a bit of a shorter match, just because obviously Trick Williams is going to be in the main event later on. But no, yeah, I thought it was great. The calendar for Chase U, do you remember that? It's selling quite well. We see a couple of spots through the night of it, but I'll just talk about them all now, just because it's all a bit of the same. JC Jane is called the Genius by the rest of Chase U. She's selling them. Who is signing it? I think it's Carmen Petrovic and Thea Hale and some other person is signing the calendars in the stadium tonight. But on, I believe it's Monday. They're going live on the WWE shop. Probably not in the UK or Europe, but in America. Get your hands on the calendar because obviously you're going to be seeing some, quite lovely pictures. But also you're going to be supporting Chase U, and we all want Chase U to get out of debt. I'm not the only one who wants that to happen, am I right? So, support Chase U wherever you can. Obviously, you get Lexus King again showing up, being creepy, asking for a signed calendar for the King of NXT, blah, blah, blah. But there's a really cringy spot later on the night where Riley Osborne asks Thea Hale to be his Valentine's, and I'm just like, oh, God, what is going on? Do I have to... I don't want to see this. It's so cringy. Obviously, she says yeah because she's got a huge crush on him. So we'll see how that unfolds because obviously with Lexus King being creepy as well, Riley Osborne is in a match with him next week on NXT. So that's going to be interesting to see. But let's go on to maybe match of the night. And I can't believe I'm saying that. We have got Dijak versus Joe Gacy in a no disqualification kind of street fight match. This match was insane, dude. Absolutely insane. I'll just list off some of the spots for you. There's a point where Joe Gacy gets a trash can put on his head, and Dijak just keeps kicking him in the face while he's in this trash can, and he keeps sitting up. He keeps elbowing him. He keeps everything, and Joe Gacy just will not stay down. Joe Gacy sets up a table later on to be what I think is a little bit far from the ring. He sets up a table and puts a load of Legos and toy soldiers all over it. So, ooh, that's obviously going to affect the landing. So later on in the match, Joe Gacy is in the ring. Dijak goes for a springboard, but as he hits the top rope to hit the springboard, Joe Gacy pushes him and he falls sort of like outside of the ring towards the table. And only like the upper part of his chest and his face hits the table. The rest of him hits the floor. And I thought it looked horrible. It looked absolutely disgusting. I don't know. I don't know if Dijak was injured from that, but it didn't seem like he was. But I don't know how, if he is. Honestly, it looks disgusting. I honestly thought the match was going to get stopped for a second, until Dijak gets pretty much straight back up and hits him with a chokeslam, which was kind of insane when you think about it. There's a point in the match here where Joe Gacy goes to put duct tape on Dijak's face. He puts it over his eyes and goes for the upside down. You know, that kind of like springboard, like elbow, kind of like what Cedric Alexander used to do and still does, I'm assuming, if he ever has a match again. But Dijak catches him somehow while he can't see in the Feast Your Eyes. But he can't see him, guys, because he's got it over his eyes. So he's going for the pain. He's feeling all around the ring and he can't see where Joe Gacy is. So he's unable to capitalize against this. Fortunately, he's able to take the duct tape up and hit another Feast Your Eyes for the 1, 2, 3. Joe Gacy's lay on the floor, knocked out, but still smiling. I really enjoyed this match. I thought it was really interesting. I'm not sure. I'm not sure if there's any length in this rivalry. I think it's like a one and done kind of thing. I would like it to be a one and done kind of thing, but I thought it was an interesting match. Fair play to these two. You might have stole the show because obviously the rest of the matches are quite decent, but I really enjoyed this one. It was different. It was quite different. It's one of the first Joe Gacy matches I've actually enjoyed watching. Joe Gacy is one of those guys for me where he's good, but like, he's nothing to write home about, and Dijak should be doing better things than this. But this was satisfactory for me. Let's go on to the next match. We have a 6-person tag team match here. We've got OTM Out in the Mud consisting of Bronco Nima and Lucian Price, Jada Parker versus the D'Angelo family. That is Channing Stacks Lorenzo, Rizzo, and Tony D'Angelo himself. Just a solid match between these two teams, to be honest with you. Rizzo and Jada Parker get to show off a lot of what they're worth in this match, which is always good to see because obviously you've not seen much of what they're doing. Nima and Price look very, very dominant in this match. They get a lot of offense in. Like, they are dominant for most of this match. Obviously, Reggie/Scripps is getting involved whenever he can. So the D'Angelo family look on the back foot for most of this match. I will say this about Lucian Price. He looks so out of... He just doesn't like he's supposed to be there. I mean, like, in looks-wise, yes. But, like, his ring gear is just, like, shorts. And like he looks like a proper wrestler, where the others look like they're from the streets, and it just looks weird that he's decided to put on his wrestling gear, and the other lot of just like are still kind of like in the gimmick. He just looks totally out of place. I would change his ring gear if I was NXT or WWE. But there's a point in this match where Rizzo goes for apparently she's a 5-time long jump world champion or American world champion or something like that. I don't know. But she hits a really cool crossbody to outside the ring to on everybody onto OTM. So that was really, really cool to see. I will say this, at the end, there's a really funny bit where Reggie is trying to get involved again and he jumps off of the stairs and Tony D just looks at him and moves out of the way and he just goes absolutely flying onto the floor. Tony D gets, I believe it's Lucian Price back in the ring for the forget about it for the 1, 2, 3. The Tony D family come out victorious, but OTM look really good in defeat. So this was just a solid match for me. Izzy Dame and Kiana James are talking about reshaping NXT somewhere. I believe it's probably in Kiana's mansion or whatever. And they basically say that they're going to sort out the NXT roster and go on to deal with Kiana James. Wait. No, Kalani Jordan, sorry. All the names sound alike in NXT, Jesus Christ. Yeah, Kiana James tells Izzy Dame to go take care of Kalani Jordan. That is basically what happened backstage. I'm not going to stay on much of that because there's not really much to talk about. Let's hope that Kiana James and Izzy Dame have something to do coming up to Vengeance Day. Maybe that's a match that's going to be happening on the special roadblock, apparently, which is coming before Stand and Deliver. We now go to the NXT Women's Championship match. Lyra Valkyria versus Roxanne Perez. A match, to be honest, that I wasn't really looking forward to. I've already made my opinions about Roxanne Perez, but it is what it is. You know, I will say this: Lyra Valkyria's outfit was pretty cool coming out. All them feathers on her. That looked really, really cool. This match gets interesting, however, halfway through, where Lola Vice runs out and cashes in her contract to be in an NXT Women's Championship match. So it becomes a triple threat: Roxy, Lyra, and Lola Vice. I will say this about Roxanne Perez. Fair play. This was my favorite match that she's been a part of so far. It was a very, very hard-hitting affair and a solid match between Lyra and Roxy. They have quite good chemistry, it turns out. Like I say, she's not my favorite in the world. I'm not really bothered about Roxanne Perez, but she had a really, really solid match here. Lola Vice comes into the match and hits the Buenos Noches on Lyra Valkyria, unable to take advantage as Lyra rolls out of the ring and she starts fighting with Roxanne Perez. She tries to get Roxy in a sleeper hold, but Roxanne fights out. Lyra Valkyria back in the match again, but she is taken out once again by Lola Vice. Lola Vice goes for the Buenos Noches on Roxanne Perez. She hits it, but only gets a 2 count. Roxanne Perez kicks out, but gets put straight into a triangle choke by Lola Vice. Has to be saved by Lyra Valkyria, hitting a big splash from the top rope, breaking up the submission. Roxanne Perez goes for the Lyra Valkyria goes for the 1-2-3 on Lola Vice, and Roxanne Perez breaks it up at the last minute. However, there is a point in this match where Roxanne Perez hits the pop rocks on, I believe it is Lyra Valkyria, goes for the 1-2-3. She gets a 2, and it is broken up by Tatum Paxley. She obviously brawls and takes Roxanne Perez outside of the ring, where Lyra Valkyria is able to capitalize on Lola Vice. She goes for another Buenos Noches or another high kick or something or whatever, and hits. Let me just look what it's actually called. I'm not sure what it's called. It's called the Nightwish. She hits Nightwish on Lola Vice for the 1-2-3. I thought this was surprising. You would think that they would let Lola Vice win the match if she was going to cash in her contract to become NXT Women's Champion, but maybe they've got other plans for her. Maybe she's going to be in the main event of Stand and Deliver. Who knows? The future is bright for Lola Vice, but I did think it was a bit too early to give her the NXT Women's Championship. It was cool to see her in this match because she was able to show off a little bit of what she can do and hang with the big girls in that match. So fair play. A little bit later on in the night, the brawl continues between Lola Vice and Roxanne Perez, obviously because Roxanne feels screwed that she's right. She could have been NXT Women's Champion if it wasn't for Tatum Paxley, if it wasn't for Lola Vice screwing her twice out of the championship in this match. She could have been NXT Women's Champion. So she's got a gripe, and it's probably going to be a rematch at NXT Roadblock between Lyra Valkyria and Roxanne Perez. If that's not saved for Stand and Deliver, maybe she faces Lola Vice at Roadblock. Well, with actually saying it out loud makes more sense. I would say she goes on to face Lola Vice at Roadblock, and the winner of that gets to challenge Lyra Valkyria at NXT Stand and Deliver WrestleMania weekend. Let me know what you guys think of that match in the comments. Did you enjoy the Women's Championship match? I actually really did enjoy it. Like I say, I'm not gonna lie. I thought this was Roxanne's best match that she's had. And I know she's had great matches with Meiko Satomura, and she's had a few good matches while she was NXT champion. Even the match where she won against Mandy Rose, but that's a name you've not heard for a while, was pretty good. I'm just not the biggest fan of her. But yeah, let me know in the comments. We now go to the North American Championship match. It is Oba Femi versus Dragon Lee. I will say this: Dragon Lee got a lot of offense in this match. Dragon Lee was taking it to Oba Femi. He was hitting the big man. He was staying ahead of him with speed and tactics, like getting him down to his knees, getting him down on to the outside, hitting the drop kicks, hitting the cross bodies, hitting the super kicks, hitting the hitting everything with hitting Oba Femi with everything that he could, except for the kitchen sink. Which I'm assuming probably was under the ring, but Joe Gacy didn't grab it in the no DQ match. So, Dragon Lee should have taken advantage and used that. This match turns around, though, where Dragon Lee is about to hit something. He's running on the apron of the ring, and Oba Femi is outside, but obviously because he's so tall, he nearly comes up to Dragon Lee's height anyway, and he just absolutely pies him out of the sky. He just hits him right in the chest with his big hand and takes him out. He goes to put Dragon Lee through the table, but Dragon Lee counters, hits a DDT on the outside of the ring. That does not keep Obafemi down. It picks him up again to try and put him through the table. Dragon Lee tries to counter again, but Obafemi counters with a counter of his own and just like slams him onto Wade Barrett's chair, which looks absolutely disgusting. Obafemi gets Dragon Lee back into the ring and just absolutely throws him around and then hits the pop-up powerbomb for the 1-2-3 to retain his championship. Obafemi is still the North American champion, and this is crazy. Vic Joseph told me something very interesting. This was only his 6th match, so he went on to win the North American championship in his 5th match, and he's defended in his 6th match and retained against Dragon Lee, who was pronounced like the new, leader of Lucha Libre by Rey Mysterio himself. So that's a really cool match. Obviously, there was limitations with Obafemi because obviously, like I said, it's only his 6th match. He's very, very new to this, but he looked quite comfortable in the ring. Fair play to him. Dragon Lee was able to work around the greener person. Like, obviously, Dragon Lee is a veteran compared to Obafemi. This was just a solid match, in my opinion, and I really enjoyed watching it. I thought it was very, very good. I just want to talk about how we now go backstage to where Ava Raine is talking about how she's the GM, by the way, if you didn't know. Ava is talking about how NXT is doing so well that it's going back on tour. Like, the sales for NXT Stand and Deliver are bigger than they were last year. And all I'm thinking while she is talking is she sounds so robotic. She sounds so bad on the microphone. It sounds like she's reading off of a script, or there's like a teleprompter behind the camera or something, just because it feels so robotic. And then I just think, this is The Rock's daughter, as in The Rock, as in Dwayne The Rock Johnson, one of the best speakers of all time. This is his daughter, and she is awful on the microphone. She's bad in the ring. She's awful on the microphone. I don't know what they're going to do with her. I really don't. Like, maybe there's a turning point for her. I'm not writing her off yet, but like, God, there's no wonder they've just put her in a GM role because, it was awful. Speaking of something that is awful, Idris Sanofi and Malik Blade are talking about the positives and the negatives that they was told to do by Brinley Reese. Like positives of like the match when they lost and what were the negatives. And this was bad enough as it was. And then Nathan Fraser shows up and like, oh God, he's the most cockiest bitch I've ever seen in my life. And he goes, you want some hard taking home truths, or this isn't going to help you become better. And if it was me and Axiom facing you on Wednesday, it would be us who was at Vengeance Day. And I'm just like, oh, shut up. I don't know if this was meant to be heelish, but it was so annoying. It was so heelish. It was so cringe. Nathan Fraser, someone please, stop writing him promos to do. Someone take the microphone off him. Just let him wrestle. He's great at wrestling. Everything else he is absolutely terrible at. Terrible. Even his own tag team partner looks cringy next to him. And that's bad because it's Axiom, and I love Axiom. Oh my God, right. I love how this is right next to probably the best part of the whole show. Because now, guys, now, we are on to the main event of NXT Vengeance Day, the NXT Championship match. Trick Williams versus Ilya Dragunov. Oh, a long time in the making. This is, like I say, Trick Williams' 2nd match of the night. He is feeling a little bit fatigued. He's bleeding from the lip, but his knee's a little bit bad, but that'll come into the match a little bit later on. Trick Williams comes out of the blocks like fighting very hard. He comes out very fast. He does some great trick things instead of lucha things. I'm going to call it that. But Ilya Dragunov is able to beat him down quite quickly because obviously Trick Williams is fatigued from his other match. Carmelo Hayes gets him back into the match, and a fight ensues once again. We now go to the outside of the ring where Carmelo Hayes is like, try to hype him up again, but Ilya Dragunov is taking this quite personally. He doesn't like that Carmelo Hayes is at ringside. So he grabs Trick Williams and hits a Death Valley driver on the apron, which just looked gnarly. There's another point in the match here where everyone is outside. Carmelo Hayes gets into the face of Ilya Dragunov, where Dragunov pushes him. Carmelo Hayes goes to hit him, which obviously would get Trick Williams disqualified, but Dragunov counters it and throws him away from him. Carmelo Hayes accidentally lands into Trick Williams, hitting the knee that he injured earlier on in the night. Ilya Dragunov gets Trick Williams back in the ring, hits the H-bomb. twice. He hits a super H-bomb, but Trick Williams kicks out at 2. And at this point, I am absolutely buzzing for Trick Williams. I am cheering for Trick Williams. Oh, it's absolutely amazing. Trick Williams hits a flash knee after countering the torpedo mascot from Ilya Dragunov. He goes for the torpedo mascot. He hits the turnbuckle, comes out right into the flash knee from Trick Williams. As the referee gets taken out, unfortunately, by Carmelo Hayes. Carmelo Hayes is out. He's on the floor outside the ring. So is the referee. Trick Williams goes for the 1, 2, 3, but there's no referee. God damn it! A referee eventually shows up at about the count of 10. Goes for the 1, 2, 3. Ilya Dragunov kicks out at 2, which is insane. Ilya Dragunov hits another H-bomb. Trick Williams kicks out. Both of them are absolutely like destroyed. They're on the knees. They're fighting. They crawl to either side of the ring. One's in one corner. Another is in the other corner. It looks like Trick Williams is going to go for the flash trick knee again. Ilya Dragunov looks like he's going to go for the torpedo mascot. He hits the torpedo mascot just before Trick Williams is able to hit the flash knee for the 1, 2, 3. Ilya Dragunov retains the NXT Championship. Now, guys, I was very disappointed with this, obviously because I just wanted Trick Williams to win. It was a fantastic match, and I don't mind Ilya Dragunov being the champion. That doesn't bother me. I was just so down that Trick Williams did not win the NXT Championship match here. But it's all for a reason, because once Ilya Dragunov leaves the arena, Carmelo Hayes is in the ring. He's talking to Trick Williams like, you were so close. You were so close, but it will always be me and you. We will always be here. We will regroup and get back. Yeah. And like Trick Williams is disappointed, but he's agreeing with Carmelo Hayes. Trick Williams stands up and goes to walk out the ring. Carmelo Hayes stays exactly where he is and absolutely chop blocks the hell out of Trick Williams, taking out the knee, going outside the ring, grabbing a chair, and just wailing away on Trick Williams. He hits Trick Williams about 13, 14 times with the steel chair. He sits next to his old friend, as his old friend is he's just looking at him from the ground, probably asking why. Why, Melo? It looks like it was Carmelo Hayes who attacked Trick Williams all those months ago. It was all Carmelo Hayes. It was all him. I mean, we all knew it was coming to this, but it was still heartbreaking to see Trick Melo break up. But it looks like it's going to be what I said a couple of weeks ago. Well, actually, I've been saying it every week since about October. It's probably going to be Trick Williams versus Carmelo Hayes at NXT Stand and Deliver, which definitely should be the main event. Like, I'm getting Gargano Ciampa vibes from this. Melo turns around to all the fans and says, "You made me like this. You made me do this. This is your fault." Carmelo Hayes finally turns on Trick Williams. I cannot wait for NXT. I can't wait to review it for you guys. What did you think of this pay-per-view? I thought it was absolutely fantastic. A really, really strong showing from NXT after a mixed review Royal Rumble, after all the tenuous feelings that people have been getting from WWE in the past couple of weeks, especially from the SmackDown where The Rock showed up. But I thought NXT absolutely knocked this out of the park with the card that they produced this Sunday. Guys, like I say, let me know what you think of it in the comments. If you have any thoughts that relate to mine, please let me know. If you disagree with what I say, that's fine. I'll have a conversation with you in the comments, no problem whatsoever. Leave a like on the video and subscribe to the channel if you want to stay up to date with all of the stuff that we got coming this week. Obviously, this review today, we have got Courtney's Monday Night Raw coming for you tomorrow morning. I'll be covering NXT on Wednesday morning for you guys. And then obviously we've got the podcast coming up where we're discussing movies and TV show. It's a pop culture one this week. I can't wait for that. That's going to be really cool. Obviously the press conference is going to be the WrestleMania press conference is going to be on that night at about midnight UK time. So we're probably going to make a video like reviewing that on the Friday. So stay tuned for that. There's a lot of content coming this week because then on Saturday we've got SmackDown review coming for you. So I hope you enjoy all of the content we've got coming up, guys. I hope you enjoyed NXT Vengeance Day. I hope you have a very, very good Monday. And I hope you have a happy week. Take care, guys. Peace out.